Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Steve Lamacq. I'll be hosting this launch of Independent Venue Week, Year 9 National Celebration with a very local feel, which is once again supported this year by Arts Council England, Creative Scotland, Arts Council Wales, and our ticketing partners, See Tickets. 120 plus venues will be taking part this year. We thought we'd start off, though, by talking to somebody from one of those venues. It's in Birkenhead. It's called Future Yard. And from Future Yard, please welcome Cath Hurley. So tell us a little bit about the venue.
So Future Yard is a CIC, and the whole idea behind it is to kind of reimagine that role that a music venue can play in a local community. So we've got a training program called Soundcheck, where we work with local young people to train them up as lighting engineers, sound engineers, and event managers. I always think there feels like a bit of a gap in between local industry and national and international industry, and what we really, really wanted to do is kind of fill that gap massively.
Brilliant. Thank you very much from Future Yard.
Thank
Cath
you.
Hurley, everybody. We wish you all the best. Good luck. So here's a company who are streaming gigs not to your phone or to your computer, but to other venues. To tell us how this works, co-founder of Rippla TV, Wayne Yardley. How did it come about?
Like, I'm from Kent, and there's not many bands that kind of come through. So we were just trying to find ways in which we could engage communities without, the travel. We were looking at the touring industry generally, and on tour you just go straight up and down the M1 and miss out all of the other spaces around. So we looked at like the opera, they sort of stream into local venues. We also looked at like theatre, so we thought, can you do the same with music?
How the venues reacted to the idea and how have audiences reacted?
What we found with the first one in Brooklyn and London was that the bands and music was amazing, but you could also see people from Brooklyn. So the audiences were quite cool. It's like, what are kids in Brooklyn wearing, and what the hell is a bodega? And it was really interesting. So it's kind of like, okay, there's culturally more interesting things here, like music exchange and cultural exchange. So we went on from there and worked with a few other bands, and one of our events in London was oversubscribed by 1,000%, which was crazy. So people really wanted to come and see exclusive kind of content.
So who have you worked with so far, and what are you looking at in the future? How far can you take this?
We started with Independent Venue Week, which is cool, and Sybil's been amazing. It's so important to bring footfall into the venues as well in a different means. So we started with Honeyblood, and we recorded them at Bush Hall, and then we projected that into 10 venues across the UK. And then from there, we sort of moved on to different bands. We worked with Mumford & Sons at Island Records for their Delta album, and that was with Nat Geo. We've worked with The National and Keen and other bands as we've gone forward. So it's been sort of progression. The technology has come along really quickly. And so streaming into other venues or into other spaces is a lot easier now. And so it's easier for venues to take a look at that kind of side of things and say, how can I get involved in actually bringing bands in from Brooklyn or bands in from wherever.
Thank you very much for coming up and telling us about it. Wayne, everybody, and we'll look out for more from Rippla TV. And this is another interesting facet of live music. Can you welcome to the stage Rich Legate, please? So Rich is from Attitude Is Everything. Do you want to explain what Attitude Is Everything is first?
So Attitude Is Everything, we connect deaf and disabled people with the music and event industries to improve access together. We're kind of a sector support organisation for the music industry. We work with venues, promoters, artist development platforms. We're also starting to stretch outside of the music industry. Colleagues at COP26 at the moment doing access consultancy. I guess the main audiences for our organisation really are audiences, people who want to go to gigs, artists, professionals, people who want to work in the music industry. And our aim is to listen to them from their experiences and remove barriers for them so that they can succeed or fail equally to their peers. I did some research with the artist development project I run called Next Stage that found that one of the biggest barriers for disabled artists is about sharing what they actually need to perform adequately. And I think it was like 70% of like the artists that we spoke to withheld their access needs when going to a show or ahead of a show, kind of with a fear of that it might not be met with the response like it won't be taken seriously, or that previous experiences have kind of meant and they think there might be a stigma and damage that relationship. Just Ask is about actually us working with promoters to enable them to meet the access needs of artists. And we want to get all Independent Venue Week promoters with a very simple question of, do you or your artists or any of your crew have access requirements on that kind of advanced information that goes out before gigs?
Thank you very much, Rich.
Cheers, Steve.
I mean, that's a great thing. From Arts Council England, Charlotte Penny. It's been such a turbulent time for the venues and the live music sector. I imagine you've been inundated, and this has been one of the most crucial points probably in your career at the Arts Council.
We have been absolutely inundated, but I've been at the Arts Council a long time, and it's I've never seen it like this. But I'm very proud of the fact how quickly we adapted and how quickly we changed our programmes and got a huge amount of money out of the door very quickly to the people and organisations that needed it through an individual programme and the Cultural Recovery Fund. So it's been successful, but it has been pretty difficult. There was £160 million in the Cultural Recovery, the Emergency Relief Fund that was lottery money. And then we were distributors of the part of the government's £1.9 billion Cultural Recovery Fund. But particularly with the first tranche of money that we've distributed to individuals, we made things as simple as possible. We were there on the end of the phone as much as we could. And we made the application process very, very quick and simple.
Well, I mean, what do you see in events like this that you can help with?
It's a great opportunity for us to reach venues across England that otherwise that might not come to us. Working with IVW and organisations like this means that we can stretch further out and reach those organisations that we wouldn't otherwise be able to. Particularly this year, we're very keen on the stuff outside of the week itself. So it's that developmental work outside, and particularly with the local communities around the venues.
And this is going to be an ongoing process, I imagine, because the rebuilding process for a lot of venues, even the ones who have survived, and even artists who've managed to get through this, I mean, it's not finished yet, is it? There's a long way to come back from where they've been.
It's not finished, and the issues that were there before the pandemic are still there. There's still leaky roofs, substandard sound and lighting. There's still access issues. Those things are still there, added with trying to rehire staff, trying to re-engage with audiences. So they've got additional problems. But also want to highlight the things that have been fantastic that we want to continue to support. So that digital work, the live streaming, the work with local communities. So understanding that there's a long way to go, but some great things have happened in the pandemic and how we can continue to support those.
Brilliant. Charlotte, everybody. So in the past, if you followed the history of Independent Venue Week, you'll know, and I had to write all these down because I was never going to learn them all off by heart, but previous ambassadors have included Colin Greenwood from Radiohead, Frank Turner, Wolf Alice, Tim Burgess, Nadine Shah, Jamie Cullum, Adrian Utley from Portishead, Daryl McDaniels from Run DMC, novelist Anna Calvi. Last year it was Arlo Parks last year, who obviously went on, having been ambassador at Indie Venue Week, to have an amazing year and is currently touring America. This year, the ambassador/ambassadors, relative newcomers to the scene, although they've already made a huge impact there. They were one of the must-see bands at the festivals. This year's Independent Venue Week ambassador/ambassadors, Wet Leg. I imagine probably, I mean, being from the Isle of Wight, you probably understand the need for live music venues and the importance of a music venue to a community more than anyone, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. We didn't really have any growing up when me and Hester started making music. There's one there now, but yeah, certainly I didn't experience the warmth and sense of community of independent venues until I moved to Bristol.
I mean, but you must, because what you miss, I suppose, if you don't have a venue, partly you don't get somewhere to play, but also the problem is there's no focus, there's no centre to a music scene, is there?
Yeah, for sure, exactly. There's so many people on the Isle of Wight that are making music, like Coach Party and Lauren Hibbard, and we just kind of are quite transient. We never really come into contact with each other,
And can you see, even with one venue, can you see people turning up will be the next generation already forming out of the audience?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of people just a few years below me, just in some really great bands doing some really interesting things. Yeah.
So what's it been like touring the country then? Because I imagine you hadn't done that many gigs if there's not many places to play before it all started happening, and all of a sudden you had to go on tour, which must have been a massive learning experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive learning experience, but a great opportunity to get to play every night and just to get better.
When you were asked if you'd like to do this gig and be ambassador, what was your reaction? What made you think, oh yeah?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like, independent venues are so important to your experience as an artist and also as someone who wants to go to gigs and see live music. So yeah, I was really excited to be invited to be ambassador.
Thank you very much, Rhiannon. We shall see you at Independent Venue Week, and good luck with the single and everything else. Right. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for being such a good audience and listening so attentively. We shall, in return, bring you some live music to finish. Ladies and gentlemen, Mama!